Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of VNture Podcast, brought to you by your hosts MR and Taros113. This week's topic is going to be about something very near and dear to all VN readers out there, everywhere in the world, our backlogs. Everything we want to read that just gets shoved off into a someday maybe sort of purgatory. Sometimes things escape, and sometimes things don't, but MR and I will be sharing our titles that we've just had on our backlog for quite a while. So let's dive into it. MR, well, first things first, I wanted to ask you about something. We were talking this topic, and you decided to show me your backlog list. And I'm going to put it up on screen on YouTube for anyone viewing there. And I just want you to just expand on it a little.
Okay, listen, I need data. I need precise data, and I need things organized. At some point, I did not trust VNDB to the same degree I trust now, and I wanted my own stuff, my own backlog DB, let's call it, right? So whenever I saw a title that seemed interesting, I put it there on the Excel, on a basic Excel file, just basic in the Google Drive.
In Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, don't judge. Okay, don't judge. I was collecting. Okay, I was collecting backlog. So I slowly expanded upon it. So I wrote down the link to VNDB, the developer, the publisher, and maybe some notes. And now, preparing for this episode, I was looking at, okay, let's open that file. Let's look at the titles I can talk about. And I see position 14. It's called Imoto Paradise. And the only comment I left there is Oni-chan. And that's it. So at some point, I decided that's enough for me to add that to the backlog.
You not just add it to the backlog, you got its VNDB links, and you got its translation status, and you got other publishers and developers, genres. Yeah. It's like,
exactly.
Not only that, so not only do you have like an Excel table of like 30 entries, all with meticulous notes, you also created a pivot table on another sheet.
How else can I go can search for it? I needed a pivot table that filters by tags, by all the criteria I add, and then using precise data, I know this is the time.
You couldn't just look at your list with your eyes. We gotta data analytics this.
Sometimes I just want. Maybe I feel like I type. Mates, and I read those, huh? Sometimes I want that, huh?
Okay. In all honesty, yeah, this is pretty incredible. You put a ton of effort into your backlog.
Thank you.
I love how you also keep the things that you've read instead of, deleting it and stuff. You keep a record of it.
Yeah, I have to.
The only thing I can really mention that's on there is Ever 17, which is all right. I know it's a classic, but I really can't say it holds up after all these years. The common route really is a slog, and although the ending has some fantastic twists and the feels and stuff, I think nowadays, if you want that, you don't have to suffer through the really long common route just to get to that point. There's all sorts of modern sci-fi titles you can just read instead.
Well, let me start off by saying you're not the first one that jumps on to the Ever 17. It's very high on the list, meaning it was very early edition. And it stays there for a long time now.
That's true. I mean, it was highly regarded at the time. It was very great when the options for translated visual novels were very lacking. So it's good, and I'm glad many people love it. It's just nowadays, you're probably better off reading something else.
Yeah, I mean, every time when I look at the list, there's something else that is on queue. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited about that title, instead of the supposed classic I don't really feel like reading right now. But let me end that segment with the words, maybe someday.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what are some titles on your backlog you want to focus on for this episode? What do you want to tell our viewers about?
After advanced analysis, I deemed worthy 2 titles to talk about from my immediate backlog that wait to be played. It's Amatsutsumi and Kinkoi, Golden Lourish. So first, maybe I'll get over Kinkoi because I have nothing else to say other than they try to sell the title on the premise, yeah, this is a title of all blonde heroines.
Which is pretty
That's all.
gutsy. I respect that. They're giving their buyers what they want.
True. And when it comes to interesting or funny or parody concepts, I tend to like those executions. For example, the Ultimate Boob Wars that Ange talked about in one of his videos, recommendations. I really like that title. And maybe this also would be something funny. And for example, the one concept that comes to mind, the oppressed best hair color, green, will be here.
Yo,
and I'll save them.
Green hair, best hair color.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, the jokes write themselves. so that's one in the backlog. And the other is Amatsutsumi, which is another title from Purple Soft. And I just like their titles. The 2 I read is Chrono Clock, which was alright, but I really like their graphics and some of the setups. And what they did with the concept of rewinding time was interesting. But I definitely loved Happy Maya more, because that was very unique, atmospheric, Alice in a Wonderland story. I really like that one.
Nice.
Yeah, so those 2 gave me a lot of hope for Amatsutsumi. I hope it continues on with the Purple Soft for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what is precisely about their graphics, but they have that coloring I really enjoy in their art style.
I know for many people, art style is the number one factor that decides if someone wants to check out a VN or not. Because after all, it's what grabs your attention the first thing first. Yeah. And if you're going to spend 30 plus hours reading something, the art style better be good.
Yeah, and now that you mention art style, I just remember Happy Maya not only featured a lot of cool visual effects, so for example, raindrops with droplets having that effect on water surface. I really enjoyed. I was like, wow, that's a cool attention to detail. Speaking with a character when it's raining and you see the droplets and rain. And also they had characters that had backside, meaning their sprites rotate to show their backs.
Yeah,
and
you
that's
love
always
that.
a predictor. Yeah, okay. It's not like, yeah, I like backs. No, that means...
Are you sure?
Oh my god. That means they care. They have enough attention to detail to draw those characters from different perspectives and sides. Always a plus in my book.
Okay, like the production values and taking care of the noticing the little things.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up on the Archer's backside. Oh, wait, that sounded super weird. But from the Fates Late 9, how Archer back was shown, and that was amazing feeling, because you felt at that moment it signified something every single time.
Mm-hmm. It was, quite literally, Archer turning his back on you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he shielded you from something. That also happened, right?
Yep.
And you saw how reliable his back is. Like that's a common trope that keeps returning in VNs. Like, oh, that guy, his back is so wide and so reliable, something like that. Yeah, and now you see this in sprite form.
Yeah, you see that come up pretty often in anime stuff.
Exactly.
But getting back on topic. I haven't read either, Amatsutsumi or Kinkoi. But I am aware. It's kind of funny that you put them both together just in the interest to save time because you don't have much to say. Yeah. Kinkoi apparently has a very solid common route. It's definitely one of those. It's very funny. It has a lot of cutesy stuff to it for Kinkoi. Whereas if I'm understanding it right, Amatsutsumi is more of a plot-focused, more dramatic kind of story.
From what I know, synopsis, yes.
Okay, so that's funny. It's a mix. I love how it's always funny when you go through your backlog, seeing all the sorts of different genres and atmospheres, and you're like, oh man, what am I in the mood for?
Yeah, and sometimes it's maids, sometimes it's blondes, okay?
There you go. Okay.
I don't know what else to add. When it comes to common routes, this is probably why, when it comes to oh my god, I forgot the genre that Ange loves the most.
Moeges?
Moeges.
Cute girls doing cute things.
Yeah. I keep remembering Princess Evangel because they had a very solid common route. That was a very nice blend on some development, some drama, some comedic moments, and some feats that protagonist had to overcome, so obstacles that he had to overcome and prove himself worthy. I think that was a very good blend of common route. But wasn't boring, wasn't wasteful, wasn't dragging off. Every single chapter introduced something new, something happenstance, some event, and explored it really nicely. And I remember fondly to this day.
Nice. That's always great. So hopefully, best of luck for these titles too.
If you say that Kinkoi is on that level, maybe, I'll enjoy it as well.
But as for my topic, there is something on my backlog that goes in a wildly different direction than the two you've chosen. And that would be Lamento, Beyond the Void. This is... I'll say it right now. This is a BL title for Boys Love, where you have the male main character with male romanceable love interests. So I want to say there's two big reasons why this has been on my backlog forever. One is that I love variety. I love reading all sorts of different stories, not just in genres like action or romance or horror and whatnot, but also all sorts of other aspects, such as, JP visual novels, OELVNs, short ones, long ones, multi-route, linear, all sorts of different stuff. I checked out otomes too, but I've never gotten around to reading a BL title. And I've always had Lamento on my backlog for so long because this is one that seems interesting, where it's a fantasy title with a whole bunch of cat boys, but it's action, and it's apparently more so of the dark fantasy kind with lots of fights and stuff. And so I think that's a really interesting mix. I'm always down for checking out stuff with a cool, unique premise. So it's just something I've always wanted to check out, but never gotten around to.
When you speak to variety, that's an argument that speaks volumes to me, because I also tend to try out runners. Not necessarily I'll like them long term or pick more titles out of that, but I like to try. And since I just tend to avoid romance, okay? I tend not to read either Yuri or BLs at all. Mm-hmm. So now that you propose to me something that is from a genre I typically avoid, but sold on a premise of a dark fantasy, let me open my Excel spreadsheet real
Well,
fast.
goodness gracious. Well, number one, I'm not recommending it to you. I haven't even read it. I don't know if it's good or not. So please hold off on that for a little bit. I don't want to
Additional notes,
you something
Taurus
that-
recommended me this.
get out of here. So this has always been something interesting I want to check out. And, you know, you rarely ever hear about it either, just because of, you know. But still, I'd like to see. And there's another reason. There's another reason why I'm so interested in this. I found out about this VN when I was surfing YouTube, and I came across the song they used for the opening, and it is such a kick-ass song. It is,
Dang.
yes, it's got violins, and it is hype, and the singer is incredible. It is sung in Latin, like
Ooh.
entirely in Latin, and apparently it's like all grammatically correct Latin and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what the heck? And it is epic. I'm going to post a YouTube link in the comments. Well, in the comments below, so that everyone else could check it out. But I heard that and I'm like, God, this is awesome. And I listened to it on repeat for, you know, for the past few days or whatever. And then I found out it's from a visual novel. And I was like, yo, that's hype.
Damn, oh my God, that's so cool.
I know, right?
So far, I only once found out a VN by their OST, and it was Amazing Read. So maybe it's a good predictor of amazing title. Huh. And speaking of predictors of a good story, does it apply here? Your very own definition of the more male characters, the better?
Oh, you're bringing that up again.
Obviously.
How many times are you going to do this to me?
Hey, it's a good metric.
Okay,
because I agree with that.
I know
So
I've
far
said
it works.
before. I know I've said before that the more male characters there are in a story, the better the plot is. That's my hard and fast rule. But I don't think it really applies to this because it's a boys' love title. So yes, there's kind of gonna be a lot of boys, you know. I'll have to get back to you about that.
Okay, so additional note, Taurus guarantees the story will be amazing.
You are still at this. You really want to put words in my mouth about this. Oh my God, MR.
Would never. It's you who said so, so I'm just
I'll get back to
taking
you.
notes.
Oh my goodness. I will get back to you if the gay Catboy VN is quality or not. Okay.
Okay. Hey, I like cat girls, VN, so who knows?
I'm still looking forward to it. It's been on my backlog for like, God, how long? Like 6 years or whatever. It's pretty old title too. But
Dang.
still, yeah, I want to get around to it. Been still looking forward. What else have you got for us, MR?
Oh, and speaking of late titles, I have something very recent. Tokyo Necro. It was, oh my God, when it was released? I feel like it was released this year, to be frank. So I think it was early this year. So I immediately bought it. Well, and it stays in the backlog, okay? I don't know what to say.
Translated this year, yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh yeah, because the initial release was in the Japanese earlier, but translated this year. I feel like they tried to release it late last year, but they didn't manage, something like that, and they postponed it by early this year, something like that. I seem to remember.
But it's out, and you own it now, right?
Yep, I bought it on release, and then other titles happened, okay?
Oh, God, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing that Tokyo Necro had against it is Rounds 9. Was released somewhat recently, somewhat near that time frame, and it was like, okay, sorry, bye. And it went to the backlog.
Got his priorities.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but what is Tokyo Necro about? Because I think I might have just kind of run it together with other stuff in my mind.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure keep confusing it with Tokyo Battle.
Yeah, for me, it's about the Nitro Plus developer because they haven't disappointed me yet. All of their stories are very edgy and interesting in different ways. So when I saw Tokyo Necro that looks like that, my kind of edge, let's go that. I think it's some sort of zombie story in a futuristic setting. Again, I'm trying not to spoil myself on anything whatsoever. I feel like I heard it has some mecha elements to it, and it utilizes PC more than typical VN to render some fight scenes. That's the things I heard about it. As usual, it is with 3D, etc. It can vary whether or not it will be good or not. But at the very least, it's unique. I have a lot of faith in Nitro Plus. Let's do this.
Okay, and when you say you have faith in Nitro Plus, they have a reputation, like you're saying?
Yeah, I read Demon Bane from them. I loved it. I read Cyanota from them. I loved it. What else is there from Nitro Plus? Didn't they do Steins Gate as well? If so, I read it. I feel like that's Nitro Plus, but I'm not sure.
Oh, they did Kikoku Guy, the Cyber Slayer?
Oh yeah, that's also on mine.
Ooh, very cool, very cool. It keeps throwing me that they also did Drakoi. Because I'm still waiting for
Muramasa, they also did Muramasa. They did
Steins Gate. Yeah, they did do Steins Gate. Holy crap.
Yeah, they haven't failed me yet.
You can tell how out of touch I am with publishers and developers in the VN world.
To be frank, I know only few of them. It's just like, I see Nitro Plus, I add that to the cart. That's it. Yeah, this is Instabite for me. I'll definitely read it at some point. It's kind of mecha to some degree, I heard. And it's very edgy, so it's like, yeah, for my edge phase when it comes, I need to read that.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not against any of that, though, so maybe I'll check it out. I'll throw it on my backlog, because I haven't read any works by them at all.
No way you haven't read Steins Gate.
Nope, that's another huge thing on my backlog. I would expect to love it because it's all time travel stuff. I freaking love time travel.
Exactly.
One thing that puts me off of Steins Gate is just how many re-releases and sequel stuff.
Yeah.
It makes things confusing, but I do want that at some point.
I understand. From my viewpoint, I always recommend reading Steins Gate. I assume you watched the anime.
Nope.
Okay. I still feel like reading VN is better to start off with, especially the how can I now say it? The original version, the non-elite, basically.
Yeah, not the elite one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that much at least.
It's just, I know they tried to add some content elite and make it more similar to anime, but it loses too much of its unique qualities from their very unique aesthetic. I recommend that.
Okay. And at the very least, I can always just enjoy Steins Gate as a standalone.
Exactly, and it's a good gateway drug to Nitro Plus.
Haha, crazy.
Yeah.
Although I thought the gateway one was Sayano Uta.
That's true. That's
maybe there's a difference between gateway and most popular.
Maybe.
Sort of.
I
depending on your definitions of popular.
It's hard to beat Steins Gate in popularity, right?
That is true. But okay. We're off topic though. But you're very much looking forward to Tokyo Necro? Yep,
I am. Again, this is such a hard thing to say because Kinkoi, Amatsutsumi, Tokyo Necro, all the titles that are on my desktop, and I got them all installed. They look at me constantly day on.
Goodness gracious.
And I know that Venus Blood is released soon. I'll be starting on that. Already. Backlog never ends. I backed the Kickstarter soon they will deliver. What? I'm not going to play it? Huh?
I've unfortunately done that too. Oh well, oh well, oh well. As long as we have fun.
Yeah, true.
Okay, well, I do want to talk about one other big title I have on my backlog for quite a while now. Meteor World Actor. I remember when it was first, I guess, translated or released or whatnot, and it looked interesting, the idea of the main character being a beat cop at a police department, but with modern day fantasy elements. And I thought, oh, that looks cool, especially when you can get some supernatural stuff involved. But also, I remember being interested in it because apparently the translation is fantastic. It has a lot of well-written dialogue, where other translators would have TL'd it very literally, and it would have had that classic, woodenness that you usually see in amateur TLs. But in this one, they use a lot of the lingo and language that you would expect out of a police department sort of guy.
Oh God, you reminded me of the episode with Pablo and his foray into aerospace jargon.
Uh-huh.
Because the way you describe that, typical lingo associated with police, it kind of reminds me how much and how passionate Pablo was talking about help from people that know a lot about aerodynamics and aeroplanes, etc.
Yes. In that case, I mean, I love how those are two different sides of the coin, because in that one, you want to get a lot of the technical specifications. Mm-hmm. And in this one, in something like Meteor World Actor, instead, it's a lot of the friendly bonding and banter and talking. Like, I wish I could post more screenshots of it. There's one where guys like, less bitching and more snitching as he's interrogating the suspect.
Oh my God. I see.
There's other, phrases like getting slapped into next week.
Oh God.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't, the phrases don't literally translate from Japanese. So it's like whoever, whatever, translator or editor, whoever, had to put extra love into it, into making it sound more English natural. I always love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it shows, as I said before, with bugs, it shows attention to detail. Yeah, they went extra mile to deliver on quality. That's it. Mm-hmm. And I seem to remember this title. It pops up everywhere. If I remember correctly, it's even featured on some top lists for favorite protagonists often enough.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, the protagonist definitely is his own character.
Yeah, I seem to keep running into this title specifically in a lot of lists for people's favorites.
Oh, so, that's sweet. He talks a lot of shit to his teammates.
Maybe that's it. We don't want all the time the goody two-shoes protagonist. We want someone who has some backbone.
A lot of sass.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. So yes, I've been looking forward to Meteor World Actor 2. I've even bought it has like a fan disc sort of sequel. It's like I've already bought that too. And it's like, God dang it.
Aww.
That's what everyone does with their backlog. It's like they've already bought the stuff. It's just they never get around reading it.
Although I have to say, buying physical editions helps me at the very least, because I don't feel like I have any physical physical edition of a VN I haven't read. Tauros.
What do you mean? And that's just...
What do I mean?
What's that got to do with it? I mean, having a physical and owning it digitally, that feels the same to me. It doesn't... That's not like there's any distinction, right?
There is.
In terms of getting through a backlog? Oh, okay. I guess.
Maybe not, but you should read Bolskar, okay?
Oh, that's what you're just trying to make a point to convince me to read something you like. Oh, You're using me.
I would never. I just giving you a recommendation, okay?
Okay, yeah, let me throw it on the backlog.
Someday.
You know what's crazy about your Excel sheet? You don't even have a ranking for it. It's like stuff that I'm really looking forward to getting high priority, and then you have like a low rating. I'll get to it whenever. It's like, wouldn't that be one of the first things you'd have on a backlog Excel sheet tracking everything?
Yeah, but why would I limit myself to some sort of ranking?
It's not limiting yourself, it's keeping track of what you are and aren't interested in.
Yeah, but maybe today I don't feel like that.
You're just
like I said.
Your
yesterday.
whims will change just on the wind. Who knows?
Today,
you'll wake up one day like the next day you'll wake up just the opposite. Okay.
Yeah. But maybe I'll do that, huh?
Your poor VNs have to fight so hard for your attention.
At the very least, I'm not ending until I complete them, huh?
Okay, that's always good.
So once I pick them, they will be finished, okay?
Nice. Well, the backlog never ends, though. You can try taking out one thing, and before you know it, you've added another 5 titles that look awesome.
Or some Steam sales come up, and then you buy some things to add to the... Oh, God. Yeah, it never ends.
Mm-hmm. But that's a good thing, though, right? It's awesome to have way too many options available.
Oh, God, that's true.
I'd much rather have that over the alternative, where you've got nothing new to read. Ugh.
Exactly. Yeah. It's... Having abundant backlog is a nice problem to have.
All about perspective.
Yep, it's all about perspective. Exactly.
Well then, on that note, we'll wrap up today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoy the conversations and the talks, and let us know what's on your backlog, or maybe if you've added a few things to yours yourself from hearing about some of these titles, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, all the listeners, for listening in, and please share your thoughts below. See you next week.
See you next week.